to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, I'm going to be doing a hypnosis session based on randomly generated location, emotions, and nouns. And I haven't done this for a while. Maybe it was 3 months, 4 months ago. And recently I've been taking a lot of inspiration from poetry, from kind of inspirational quotes, a lot of client sessions. And it just dawned on me that my initial intention was to do at least 52 randomly generated hypnosis sessions that in some way, had complete unpredictability, but also using these Mike Mandel hypnosis language pattern cards. And I just saw this, and this box was like half empty. Half the cards have already been discarded because I've already used those in a hypnosis session, but the other half are still here. So I thought, have to see it through, really. Not I have to, but I want to see it through to do these hypnosis sessions that are completely unpredictable, using many different variables, and one of those variables being the language. So for those watching on YouTube, I'm going to share my screen so that here we go. So that you can actually see the first page, which is Earth Roulette, and it basically randomly generates different locations in the world. So I've just done this. Now this is interesting because I've been to this place. It's called Bradford in the United Kingdom, and I'll be honest, like normally when I do hypnosis sessions, I'm looking for exotic locations and impressive beaches or that kind of stuff. I've been to Bradford. It's quite an industrial kind of town, and I remember it being quite grey and kind of rainy when I went there. But looking at this particular location, it says here it's a city in West Yorkshire, in the north of England, and just looking at some of the things that it's known for, it's kind of like got a big science museum. So there is a National Science and Media Museum, and Bradford Industrial Museum. So a lot of where the city came from was from the Industrial Revolution, so big factories and things like that. So we're going to use that as the location. I'm going to randomly generate 3 nouns, and we have here disagreement, dialogue, and pressure. Disagreement, dialogue, and pressure. And the 2 random emotions are irritation and passion. Now, I talk about passion a lot in my hypnosis sessions because I happen to believe it's a incredibly resourceful state. Irritation, I don't think I've ever used, but irritation can be a resourceful state if it provokes or acts as a catalyst for some kind of a change. So if you think about irritation, if you're irritated by, let's say, a noise outside of a window, it might motivate you to close a window. If you're irritated by, a bug or a fly kind of buzzing around your head, you might leave that space or kind of, brush the fly away. So irritation can be a resourceful state. So we're going to use these random locations. So Bradford as the location, disagreement, dialogue, and pressure as the nouns, and irritation and passion as the words. And I'm going to quickly shuffle the Mike Mandel language cards and just randomly pick a card here. And it is the 9 of clubs from the pack. I believe you can get this pack free of charge from the Mike Mandel website. So check that out if you are interested in hypnotic language. It's kind of a tool to get you more skilled and more flexible using your language patterns. But it's the 9 of clubs, and it says here, as soon as ... You'll. So another way of connecting ideas that are actually unrelated. The implication is that something will occur, and when it does occur, something else will happen. It states a certainty that leads to something else. And the example they give here is, as soon as you've had enough of this problem, you'll let go of it forever. And what I like about that, it does connect with one of the random emotions there of irritation. So as soon as you've had enough, so it could be irritation is the cause of you having enough, reaching the point of threshold, which is a useful point to get people to when making a change. So we're going to use that as the language pattern, and Bradford as the location. And none of these I think I would have voluntarily chosen if I was just kind of doing this unprompted. But that's the nature of the randomly generated hypnotic sessions, is that they take me out of my comfort zone and get me thinking in ways that I wouldn't normally think. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation, and as you exhale, just get a sense that tension, stress, worries are leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, just get a sense that tension perhaps around your temple, your forehead, your jaw is just melting away. As you exhale, just imagine that tension is leaving your body almost like a vapor of air on your outward breath. Because you can recall at least once in your life where you were in a cold place, and as you breathed in, you felt the coldness of the air, and when you breathed out, perhaps you saw that almost cloud of vapor of that warmed up air leaving your body. Only in this case, I want you to feel its tension, stress, and worries that are leaving your body in your outward breath, enabling you to go deeper and deeper, relaxed. Now, I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine that you are spinning a globe. Maybe it's a plastic inflatable globe, or maybe it's one of those antique globes almost on an axle that you can spin around. And I want you to get a sense that as you're spinning it around, you stop over Europe and you focus your attention onto the United Kingdom. Use your imagination to imagine that you're no longer holding the globe, but almost flying into the globe, flying into Earth's atmosphere and flying over the United Kingdom. But I want you to swoop down towards the north of England, swoop into Yorkshire, not the rural countryside of the moors. I want you to head towards the northern cities, and not Leeds perhaps, one of the biggest cities, but a city nearby, a city called Bradford, not too far from the Pennines, not too far from the Yorkshire Dales. But this city is not the countryside. It's not the Pennines of those rolling hills and mountains. This is a city. I want you to get a sense that you're going towards an old industrial mill. And I want you to imagine that you're visiting this city maybe 200 or 300 years ago, where it was at the peak of the Industrial Revolution. Imagine those large mills and large factories. This was the source of great wealth back then, at that time in England. And I want you to imagine that you're there in Bradford, hundreds of years ago, but with all your knowledge from the present, looking at a piece of history through time. And I want you to imagine you're standing in front of a large mill, maybe seeing the big mechanics, the huge wheels turning. And I don't know if it's a mill for fabric, wool or lace, but just get a sense that you're seeing the power of these mechanics, the industrial machines turning. And as you look at these machines turning, I want you to get a sense that the nature of the hydraulics in the machines require pressure. That all of this great wealth created in these factories cannot happen without pressure, perhaps heated water. The whole hydraulics of creating the pressure that then forces a reaction, and using that power, deliberately harnessing that power to achieve objectives. The nature of the Industrial Revolution is that it was able to amplify the power of men by using machines alongside them. The machines did the heavy lifting, and the humans did more of the skilled work that machines couldn't do. But pressure was required to create value, action, and energy. And I want you to evaluate your life and figure out what's causing pressure for you. Maybe it's a disagreement with someone. Maybe it's the high expectations other people are placing on you. Maybe the pressure comes from a belief that you don't have the time, the energy, or the resources to meet all of the demands that you have to meet. Increasing bills, increasing workload, a lot of stress. But I want you to create a dialogue with yourself, an inner dialogue where you say that you are going to harness this pressure. You're going to utilize this pressure to work for you rather than against you. I want you to think in terms of air pressure. The nature of air pressure is that the higher up you go in the atmosphere, the less pressure there is. In the same way that the opposite is true in the oceans, the deeper you go, the more the pressure is. And the closer to the surface, the less pressure. The opposite is true with air. And sometimes athletes will train at altitude, knowing that the pressure means there's less oxygen higher up, so their body gets used to making the most of what it has. And I want you to get a sense that this pressure is training you to handle this pressure. Disagreements that you have when you start having that inner dialogue will enable you to make new decisions. Decisions about where you continue to work, what you continue to do, how you spend your time, and if the disagreements have a valid reason, isn't that a reason to create a change? I want you to scan your life for those causes of irritation. And as soon as you identify a source of irritation, you'll use that irritation to add more pressure to create the point of threshold to make a change. You've heard of the saying, it's the final straw that breaks the camel's back. Individually, the camel can handle all of that straw, but when that pressure builds, just one final piece of straw can then break the camel's back. And I want you to get a sense that if you harness the pressure, the irritation in your life, allow that pressure to build, eventually it will pass the point of threshold. And as soon as you pass the point of threshold, your intention to make a change will change to a decision to make a change. And as soon as you make that change, life gets easier, because so much of the pressure that we're dealing with isn't real pressure. It's the pressure of uncertainty. It's the pressure of seeing a future that gives more undesirable things. Pressure can come from just a belief that we can't even make a change, that we're between a rock and a hard place, that we have no options. And as soon as you make a decision, you'll realize that you can make many more decisions, that you have more control of your life than you think you do. And what if the irritations, the disagreements, the pressure in your life is just a stepping stone towards a life of passion, a life where you get to live on your terms, a life where you get to wake up smiling, a life of joy, a life where there's more good things than bad things, and even the bad things are perceived as challenges that make you even stronger. As you imagine being there in that perhaps 17th or 18th century factory there in Bradford, I want you to make a picture in your mind's eye of your future with passion. What are you doing? How are you spending your time? What does life look like for you living with passion? And as soon as you can create a compelling vision of a life with passion, you'll notice everything that takes you away from that life as passion as an internal disagreement, an internal source of irritation, not designed to bother you, but to move you in the right direction, to move you away from a life of pressure and stress and towards a life of passion and fulfillment, a life of joy and gratitude. See that future, but more importantly, believe that that future is possible for you. Because as soon as you believe that possible future is a destiny rather than a possibility, you will unlock the resources required to move towards that very future. And then realize all of this is just your imagination creating the possibility of change, to create a future of more passion and a future of less stress and irritation and all the things you don't want anymore. And it's time to leave that industrial city and return to the present. Imagine flying up out of that city, but also leaving the past in the past, not just in this session, but in your life. Take the wisdom from the past, but don't take the baggage that comes with it. Find yourself back in the present, listening to my voice, because very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, feeling motivated, feeling passionate, and in a strange way looking forward to noticing those internal disagreements and external sources of irritation to take your life in the very direction you desire it to go. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9:10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.